All information contained in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your individual circumstances. You should consider the appropriateness of this information with regards to your individual objectives, financial situation, and needs. Welcome to Sharing More Than the Sheets, a podcast to help you and your partner make better financial and lifestyle decisions so that you can both focus on the things that you love. I'm your host, Michael Khouri, financial planner, green thumb, husband, and just dad. As a podcast host that runs a financial and lifestyle podcast, we've covered so many topics. We've talked about money. We've talked about choosing a school for your kids. We've talked about relationships, and something that I've always wanted to talk about because I've had a personal experience with it, and as a parent, it's a big concern for me, and something that's on my mind is bullying. Any parent that has a child may have experienced their child going through something like that, and anyone that's been in school has probably experienced it in some way in their life. If not probably, I'd probably say almost guaranteed to have experienced it. And today we are not only celebrating our 3-year anniversary, so literally our 156th episode, but we have a very special guest with us on the show, Jeff Horn. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us.
That's all right. Thanks for having me, Michael.
Yeah, mate, it's, I think most people know who Jeff Horn is when they hear that name. But for me, I think my biggest, I guess you could say, experience watching you on the stage was, in 2017, and before we jump into that, and I guess we jump into the topic of bullying, I think I just wanted to, for those that probably haven't been following you as much as I have and many others, I just want to sort of drop a brief bio. But you're a professional boxer who competed from 2013 to 2020. You're an amateur. You represented Australia in the 2012 Olympics, reaching quarterfinals of the light welterweight bracket. And in 2017 at Suncorp Stadium here in Brisbane, my hometown and where we're based, you defeated Pacquiao in an unanimous decision after 12 rounds and became the new WBO welterweight champion. And for those that don't know your story, Jeff, you've talked about bullying a lot in your life as well.
Yes.
Can you maybe just briefly explain that story?
Yeah, look, I probably wasn't the worst, probably bullied, that's for sure. I don't try and go out and say that I was, but what happened to me definitely affected me and my confidence as a kid, and it definitely, I had some dark days where a few things happened in a row that I was like, well, is it even worth living anymore? And contemplated, I guess, suicide at one point in my life, which is crazy because I had a good life. I had a loving family and good friends and things like that. But I guess moments of depression for kids is very real, and some things can line up, and you just got to be very careful and watchful and make sure that you talk to kids to make sure that they're okay.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like the thing. I find it really interesting that because you talked about it having a massive impact on your life, but you also say that you don't feel like it was the worst. So obviously, there are obviously stories out there, and you probably saw others being bullied even more than you were.
Yes.
I could relate because at school I was bullied, and again, I agree. It wasn't. I would not say it was the worst out of from what I saw. If 10 was terrible, 0 was not being bullied at all. For me, it was probably a 4 or a 5.
Yeah.
So it's probably not even worth complaining about, but it still has had a big impact on my life. And I could relate to the self-confidence thing, and I could relate to just life in general, because it's sort of, school finishes at 3:00, but then it just continues, on your mind after that.
Yes. And for us, probably, well, for me anyway, it continued at school a lot, but I could basically get away from it when you're at home because technology wasn't such a big thing when I was younger. But nowadays, kids will go home and have constant barrage of messages from people that might be bullying them at school as well.
That's so true. And it's one of those things where once something's on the internet, it's on the internet as well.
Yes.
And I think, and I really want to talk about the bullying program as well, because I know that's sort of it's your baby at the moment, especially now that you've officially retired.
Yep.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Now I know why on the 2nd of July, just before you announced it, that after the afternoon before I was emailing you about this, and you're saying, "Oh, look, we just put this off for a few weeks." I sort of understand why now, but I really want to talk about that because I think, would you agree when I say this, that most people when they bully, maybe may not be most, but a lot of people when they bully another person, they don't realize that they're doing it because. I mean, I'll admit that I'm not perfect, and I've probably cracked some jokes in the past in high school and even now where I probably don't even think it's bullying someone, and it's probably something that's really affected them as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I guess if you're saying something to someone and you're just thinking it's probably a game, or you're just kind of just poking fun of them just for it to have a laugh, and you might be going along with your friends that might be doing it to them, you don't realize that what impact that's having on that person. So I guess if you're continually doing that to someone, it's definitely classed as bullying, and yeah.
Yeah, and it happens all the time, right? Like it's the other thing I can think of, and this is just when I was last week, I was just reading up a bit about you and the media and just bullying and your experiences. But something that I noticed as well is that in 2017, when you beat Pacquiao, the bullying continued because like honestly, reading some of the articles, like it's just people saying things to you. I think your wife, didn't at one stage, like some people online were saying things about her, even and she has nothing to do with your career. It's your wife, but even she was copying it, wasn't she?
Yes, anyone associated with me or seen with me was copying flack. So whatever was posted online, and I still get it to this day. If I post something online, I'll just get random hate from people, which I guess I don't know. I guess a lot of them are probably repeat defenders, but then I just block and delete those people, so they can't really do it. But I still continually get it to this day, even people giving me crap.
Yeah, that's it. And it's one of those things that even in a workplace, like I know we're talking about, when I say bullying, the context I'm talking about is kids, but even if we talk about workplaces, if we talk about people in the spotlight, people in the media, like it happens. And I think, and I mean, this episode is going to be listened to for years to come at every different day of the year. But interestingly enough, today's Are You OK Day, so I find it, ironic that we're talking about it today as well. But I think even the learnings from that, people can take that into their workplace. They could take it into the real world, not just school.
Yeah. Look, the effects that happen to kids when they're younger, normally the signs of it can happen when they're older, I guess. A bullied school kid can be depressed at school, and sometimes that depression kind of passes over into adulthood. And if you were a bully back in school, you're probably still bullying people now. And sometimes people don't even realize that they're doing it to people, but I think it's the lack of confidence that people have and the lack of self-worth that they have to put people down to make themselves feel better.
Yeah. And let's call bullying, let's just call it a thing, right? If we wanted to eliminate it, which obviously is never going to happen, but if we wanted to eliminate it, what are the things that we need to do? Like as parents, as workplace, even as teachers at school, what do you feel are some of the things that people should really be doing, actions that should be taken?
Look, that's why I guess I've started the program with what we're doing, and that's building confidence in our kids and finding something that they're confident in, knowing how to deal with conflict situations, so knowing how to verbally handle a situation first, and if they can't get a result in that way, then they can be prepared, I guess, physically as well for how to get away from the situation.
Yeah. And in a way, I think you could relate to a lot of that, can't you? Like when you're talking about even just boxing in general, mate, even that fight, I think it was round 9, wasn't it? When, that they wanted to pull the pin on the whole fight.
Yes, at the end of round 9, the referee came over and said, "I think you've got to show me something, or else I'm going to stop this fight. I think you've had enough." And I'm just like, "No, I haven't had enough. Well, I'm 3 rounds away from winning this world title. I'm having a great fight," and then he's saying one bad round that I had. He was like, "I'm going to pull the pin." So I was like, I'll show you. I've got my second win now, and round 10, 11, 12, I pushed it.
Yeah, because the reason I mentioned that is because confidence. You mentioned confidence, and if you didn't have the confidence to be able to do that, you probably would have been like, "Yeah, I can't do it."
Yeah,
And I think boxing's probably like that anyway. Like when you're in a ring, if you don't have the confidence.
yes, and that's all about the self-talk, I guess, that we do for ourselves all the time, and how you think of yourself and how you picture yourself, and it's important to you picture yourself, I guess, in a positive light, and see the good things in yourself, and that normally makes you a better person to other people as well.
And as a parent, like me, I've got children. My kids are 10, 7, and 5. And as they head into high school, there's going to be a lot more bullying that they experience and that they may be subjected to as well. What advice or what tips would you give parents that are about to experience this, or maybe some that are listening to this thinking that are feeling helpless? Because I've talked to friends before, clients, and they've said to me, my kids are being bullied. I don't know what to do. I talked to the teacher.
It's a very, very hard, I guess, topic and problem to kind of have a one answer probably to. But I guess that's why the program that we have was created, is because we saw a need for kids to learn how to de-escalate situations and learn how to protect themselves, and that's why we created that. So I think that's probably one of the best things that kids can learn at a young age, of how to handle different situations, and I think it should be in every school in Australia and possibly the world at some stage, because kids everywhere, bullying happens everywhere, and we need to, I guess, stick together and teach our kids from a young age of how to know when it's happening to them and how to handle it.
Yeah, and I guess it's, again, a part of that program. I think a big part of it is, like what you said, dealing with the different scenarios, and knowing what to do, because I guess they say prevention is key. You can't really prevent it, but it's, I think, preventing conflict maybe, or preventing it from continuing.
Yeah, well, it's teaching. It's teaching people how to deal with different situations, and there's mild, dangerous and life-threatening things that will happen to people across their lifetime, and teaching them how to manage each of those situations is a good way to, I guess, cover all our bases.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is calling it out when you see it as well.
Yes.
I think that's a big thing, because even on Facebook, like on social media, you see comments, like, let's say, because I follow you on Instagram, and I love your posts, by the way. Like, it's,
thank you.
As a dad, like, even the dad jokes are just perfect. I've got one at the end of this, by the way. But even like as a dad, as a person on social media, if someone was to comment something about you, if I had seen something like that, I wouldn't think twice about calling that person out. I'd just see it and be like, "Oh yeah, I see that all the time." Keep scrolling, everyone.
Yeah.
But really, it's about building awareness. Now, hold on a second. If you see someone being bullied, or you see someone being treated in a particular way, you can't just ignore it. You need to actually.
Yeah. The problem with online, though, is those people want the reactions. They want a reaction from either the person they're directing at or from someone else, and sometimes giving them that is sometimes the worst thing, because I'm very good at ignoring comments. I guess that's because I have the confidence in myself to be able to do that. I can read bad comments about myself all day long, and just skip past them and I not let them bother me. But other people will jump on and defend me. Sometimes that's what the person wants. They want reactions from people, and they want to be heard. So
these podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a free 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au. when it comes to confidence, because you've talked about that a fair bit, when would you say your confidence started building up as well, personally? And again, I'm only asking you this question for those that are listening to this,
Yeah.
that they haven't, they may not want to become boxers. They probably do and haven't
Yeah.
started, or they're going through something. Like, was it a day you just woke up and you're like, nah, that's it. This is going to be a new Jeff Horn, or is it something that developed over time? Did it happen by accident?
Look, it was probably a mixture of things, but I guess sport just in general. I was very sporty when I was younger. Well, I guess I still am now, but I was very sport orientated with everything I did, and I was pretty good at it. I was pretty good at sport in general, and athletics was something that I enjoyed doing when I was younger in school, and probably from grade, I don't know, from probably grade 10 onwards, it was probably calmed down a lot. Grade 8 and grade 9 were not very, very good years, but grade 10, 11, 12 kind of settled down. People started growing up and treating people a bit better. I did have some bad incidences, though, with a big fight at one stage in grade 10, but it was all pretty settled down after grade 8 and 9.
So it's something that really just over time happens. So it's really, was a matter of just staying tough and just waiting for the storm to pass in a way.
Yeah, exactly. But I still felt, I guess, kind of weak and helpless, even still, probably after grade 8, grade 9. And that's when I went to the martial arts gym. And when I started learning self-defense and things like that, that's when I started getting even more confident. I was like, oh, maybe I could try this fighting business, which is why I got into boxing in the first place.
And as a boxer, so as someone that's, you've, I'd say you're pretty tough after everything you've been through. Would you say that violence is always the answer? And I know the obvious answer to that question, but the reason I'm asking is just for you to sort of, to open up on that a little bit and just sort of give your take as well. Because I've talked to some parents, and when we talk about bullying, some will say, oh, I just tell my kids if someone does anything to them to just punch them in the face. And then there'll be other parents that say, no, they're going to get in trouble and they're probably going to get picked on even more. And I know every situation's different, but what's your take on that?
Yeah, look, I feel I understand. I got told it when I was younger to just punch them in the face if you would be getting bullied or something like that, picked on. But it's normally not the right thing to do, and to tell someone, to talk to someone about it first, ignore it. Try and ignore it at the start, and use your communication skills to de-escalate the situation, to calm that person down, to kind of even potentially compliment them to make them feel more superior than you, to then hopefully then back down the situation that you're getting yourself into, and then go back and talk to someone, as I said, and reevaluate what can be done.
And also, like, when it comes to going through bullying, or going through a situation, we'll call it, or even just like what you said, bullying can have an impact on someone's life. And in your life, when you're feeling down, you're not feeling confident, you feel like giving up as well, and you feel that not that you're worthless, but you feel that there's no use in fighting. Is there like a golden tip, or is there a tip that you would give to those listening to this that are maybe thinking of giving up, or thinking, I can't keep going on forever? Whether it's bullying, as I said, or whether it's life in general.
Yeah, there's a few things someone can do, I guess, is talk to someone, like make sure that they talk and express their concerns and feelings with someone that they trust. That's one of the biggest things they can do, is just air out what they're kind of thinking. That's a huge thing to do. But then just lifestyle things, and eating more healthy, exercising, all these things can make you feel better. Just as the day goes on, and that normally helps out as well.
Yeah, so looking after your mental health and just talking to others, because you're right. Because when you talk to others, you sort of start listening to yourself as well, don't you?
Yeah, you hear what you're saying, and they might give you other answers, or you might even, when you say it, go, oh, maybe it's not that bad, and I can do this to combat it. So normally you have the best answers in your head, but sometimes you don't have the confidence to do it.
That's so true. Because the opposite of all that is going to be to not eat healthy, to not exercise, stay home and not talk to anyone.
Yes, and that's where all the problems start happening.
Yep, that's so true. That's so true. And also with the bullying program, if you can just maybe tell us a little bit about that as well, because there may be, not maybe, there will be people listening to this that are part of school groups, community groups. I've got a few clients that are principals that'll probably be listening to this as well. If you could just sort of maybe give a little bit of a rundown of the program and how it works.
Yep. So it's run over 10 lessons, normally run over about an hour each, and we've trained teachers in schools of how to deliver the program, because we find teachers are probably some of the best people, as I was formerly a teacher as well, to deliver the program to their children and students at their schools, and to be good mentors for those kids. And they teach them in those 10 lessons how to, I guess, mitigate the bullying situations that they come up against. And that's using the verbal techniques. And they go through a heap of role plays in the lessons to show them how to deal with it. And they also learn all the different values. We have values framework where we teach them respect, and not just saying that you respect someone, but teaching them what respecting someone kind of is and what it feels like, and how you can give it to someone else.
Yeah, well, isn't that so? And you think something so simple would just be so obvious to most people, but when you say it out loud, and when you actually lay it out in front of someone, it is important, isn't it? Because I mean, we all know, okay, most people would know the definition of the word respect, but not many would actually do those things. And again, especially if it's someone cracking a joke or they're doing something that they just think is funny, not realizing that, it's not respectful, and it has an effect. Because what I love about even a bullying program is that, and I can't believe it isn't something that's been in schools for years. It's like literacy programs. When I talk about money, knowing how to manage money, just basic money stuff like budgeting, that should have been taught in schools years ago. You'd think bullying would have been at the top of the list as well, because like what you said,
100%.
It affects someone's life.
As you said, we're both parents now, and would be looking for schools and things like that to send our child to. Wouldn't you be more confident in a school if you're like, they have the ability to teach kids, they're teaching kids how to manage conflict and bullying when it kind of happens, and they have something like this, that a program that does teach the kids those qualities in life that they need to get through it?
Yeah, no, big time. Because again, I've talked about, as parents, we sort of, and I've talked about this in a very recent episode actually, but as parents, we show our kids how to be healthy, how to have a career, how to study, but we don't talk. But these are some of the other things that we need to sort of be equipping them with. And I talk about helping them how to, teaching them how to manage money, teaching them what a credit card is and all that. But this falls into that category because it's life skills. Because it's, if the school has that program, as a parent, 100%, that would be something that would attract me to that school. Because I know as a parent, even if I wasn't bullied, I think I'd probably be feeling this way. But especially because I went through it myself, I do know that it affects you lifelong, and it affects your confidence, and it affects your career potentially.
Yes. And we want to protect our children. That's, as a parent, you want to make sure you do the best for your child as best as you can. And sometimes it's hard being a parent to teach them absolutely everything. So, which is why a lot of these skills that the kids learn in the program are not sometimes taught. And I guess get through all the cracks and make sure the kids know what to do in certain situations like that.
Yeah, that's it. And also, I think these kids, honestly, I feel like the kids that could have turned out as bullies will probably be thankful they even went through something like this, because I talk to friends regularly that tell me I was a bully at school and I feel really sad about it. And I look back and I feel really sad about it.
Yeah.
And it's something that will stay with them for the rest of their lives as well, because they know.
There's plenty of there's plenty of stories from people looking back and going back and contacting people about and saying sorry to them because they feel bad about what they've done to them in the past, because they feel like, yes, they did bully them and they feel really bad about it, and that's hard to get over for even themselves. So they have to reach out and try and apologize to that person to do it. But sometimes those people might not even want anything to do with them.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's so true. And also sometimes, and obviously it's too late as well if they feel that way 20 years later, because the other person's already gone through it. It's already affected their life, and you can't really turn back time either.
Yeah, I guess it's still probably nice for them to get a sorry for what they've probably done to them in the past, but as you said, the damage has been done. But I guess they can see the end of the tunnel and go, maybe some people aren't completely horrible like I thought they were.
Yep. And in all honesty, Jeff, up until this episode, I honestly never connected bullying with confidence. And I know that sounds really probably stupid to say. Like when I say it out loud, it sounds really silly. But I mean, two parts. A, those that bully normally aren't confident. But secondly, how bullying affects someone's confidence. Because for me, I'm a pretty out there person now. Like I've got this podcast show. I MC at events. I do all these different things. I love talking to people. I don't shut up, but it's taken me a while to sort of get to this point as well. Because at one stage, I wasn't confident. I got really nervous talking to people, and I don't know if that was my personality. I don't know if that had anything to do with the bullying, but either way, it's something that's been pretty big in my life, and it's taken me time to get over it,
Yeah.
So confidence, and again, I encourage any parent listening to this to sort of get on, talk to their school about this bullying program. Even maybe they can even ask their school what they currently do as far as bullying is concerned. That's if they do have a bullying program, that should probably be the first question. And if the answer is no or yes, we do, then telling them about yours.
Yeah.
If people wanted to get in contact with you, Jeff, or they wanted to learn more about the bullying program, what would you say would be the best way for them to do that?
Oh, look, people can email me directly on my email at jeffhornboxer@gmail.com, or they can contact Bullyproof Australia and talk to someone there.
Yep, sweet. Thank you. And I'll put the URL to that website in the description of this episode as well, for those listening as well that wanting to get in contact with it. And lastly, I told you there'd be a joke. I like to finish all my episodes off with a dad joke. And I've been Googling boxing jokes for the last 2 weeks. But the first one is, why do pirates always win boxing matches? They've got a killer hook. And
no, so I was trying to think of something to do with R.
Oh, yeah. But
I couldn't connect it.
Or what does a boxing comedian need? A good punchline.
Yes, I was going to say that.
Oh, you did?
That one.
Oh, that's it. Well, but you know what? Like a few years back, I used to write a lot of jokes, but I've spent ages trying to make a boxing joke, but I just couldn't come up with a punchline. Anyway, that's all I've got.
Good one.
That's all. Anyway,
that's good.
But as I said, like it's when it comes to this whole topic, it's been honestly an absolute pleasure talking to you about it, Jeff. I appreciate you making the time out. I really do. And I really hope anyone listening to this will not just get some points maybe out of it to talk to their children, or if they're personally going through something, but to contact their school and just get more of this out there and to help build more awareness.
Yep.
And congratulations on your retirement as well.
Cool. Thanks, mate. Yeah. Appreciate it. Thanks for the chat as well.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for joining us on Sharing More Than the Sheets. Please make sure you subscribe to be updated with future episode releases, and feel free to share this episode with any friends or family that you think it might benefit. Please visit us at sharingmorethanthesheets.com.au to submit questions or requests for future podcast topics. These podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au.